Good afternoon. It is October 19th, 2014. Paul here in Nashville, Tennessee. And today I'm going to talk to you about the garden, my vegetable garden in Nashville. And one of the most important things that I've learned about a garden is you have to eat it. You have to eat the food that comes from the garden because there are so many health benefits that come from that. And as usual, I'm in the garden without a shirt and barefoot, as I will show you here in a minute. And looking down here, that's how I like to enter the garden, just like that, with bare feet. And the sun is out. We've had cold evenings and very warm days, and so it's very comfortable out here without a shirt on and with shorts. And I'm going to show you some of the plants here in the garden. And right here we have a row of lettuce, and you can see how amazing it is. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a bunch of folks over the house. We were talking about nutrition and whatnot, and they all came away with a bag of lettuce from this area. And so the row right here is lettuce, and then right there's another type of lettuce, and then right here we have kale all along here, and then another row of kale. This row of kale didn't get enough water in September. We didn't have any rain in September, and so it's coming up now. You can see the little sprouts, and there's a couple of big plants here and there. And then we have another row of kale here. And the kale is just an amazing food. I don't really appreciate the taste of it very much. I don't care for the taste of kale very much, but it is an amazingly nutritious food, and I feel good after I eat it. Maybe about a half hour after I eat it, I feel really good. I have a lot of energy and feel very nourished. And then over here, we have a mulberry tree. Oh, it's about 2 years old, and these grow very quickly in Tennessee. It's in the same family as the bodock or the Osage orange or the hedge apple. They all have the same name. And it is going to produce a lovely small ripe fruit, a bit like a blackberry. And that's a mulberry. And then over here we have this right here is a volunteer tomato plant. It came up on its own, and it's producing hundreds of tomatoes. And then over behind that, the light isn't so good, but there's a bunk here of shiitake logs. And these logs produce shiitake mushrooms. They were inoculated about 6 years ago, and they are still producing a lot of shiitake mushrooms. And then over here we have a row of red lettuce right here. And a lot of these seeds got washed out right late August. And same here with the spinach. A lot of that got washed out. And then here we have radishes. I have two different kinds. I have cherry bell on the front right here, and then French breakfast radish over there on this side. And then over here we have lots of tomatoes, and I'll try to get in a little closer here so you can see all the tomatoes. And there are literally thousands of them all over the garden. And these are volunteer plants. They came up when the squash was coming up, and just have done fantastically well. And then coming around here, we have baby carrots right here. These are baby carrots. And another volunteer tomato, bok choy right there. Another tomato plant without any fruit yet. It probably won't fruit. We're going to only have tomatoes for a few more days. We're getting into frost. Here's another kind of lettuce here. And then here we have dinosaur kale. And then here we have arugula. And arugula is a sort of a spicy green. And then over here we have chard. Chard is an incredibly sweet leaf. You can see that. It's incredibly sweet tasting. You can eat a lot of it. And it tastes really good, and it's very palatable. And I like the small tender leaves. And here's another lettuce here. And then right there we have a big mulberry tree. Well, it's a bit easy to misjudge that. Let me move over here so you can see there's a tree behind that looks like it's part of it. But that's a mulberry tree right there. And it's only about 2 years old. It grows very quickly. We have 3 in the yard now. I'm going to be propagating more of those. And the big challenge with a garden is not getting things to grow and getting a lot of food. The challenge is to get the food in your body, because amazing things happen when you do that. I've lost 80 pounds in the last couple of years since I got the big idea that I should start juicing the food from the garden. And so about 2 years ago I started to juice a lot of the produce from the garden, and I started losing weight and feeling better and feeling stronger, and I had a lot of arthritis, and that started going away, and about a half a dozen ailments like psoriasis and arthritis and obesity and high blood pressure. I was having a lot of sort of diabetes symptoms, and a really long list of pathology and ailments and things like that. And it all started going away one by one, and I was able to really do a lot more in my life. And it's been a rebirth of sorts. And then over here we have a lot of lettuces. We have butterleaf lettuce, which is let me zoom in on that. It's really pretty. We've been harvesting it pretty heavily. Right there. The light's a bit tough, isn't it? Yeah. But it's got a pretty gold and green color. And then over here we have more lettuce and some kale and lettuce. And then there's a really pretty bunch of plants over here. I'll show you. These came as an assortment pack. And see how pretty that lettuce is? And then there's this sort of split leaf lettuce here. And this pack came with a lot of mustards in it, which I don't care for. And then right there, a lot of really pretty lettuce. So yeah, right here. I gotta get the light. I get the angle right. Just a second. All right, over here. And there you go. Can you see that? Yeah, that's pretty red lettuces. And another row of dinosaur kale here. And you get the idea. And over here, where those two A-frames are, we have just thousands of tomatoes and holy basil, and then over here, panning slowly, we have a lot of fennel. And fennel is just an amazing plant. It's really good to put in smoothies, and really good to eat the seeds and make tea. I've been having tea out of the seeds. And and so the challenge is to eat the greens. Greens don't taste real great, and they're not going to taste like a Krispy Kreme donut or Dunkin' Donuts. But what I do is walk up and down the rows every day, every morning, and just try to eat as much as I can. And the idea is just to keep eating. And what happens is I develop a flavor. I develop a taste for the foods, for the new foods. And then the habits, the days turn into weeks, and the habits start to grow. And then, I start to get really healthy, really strong. I went back to a normal weight, which feels really good. And then, zooming in here, there's a red pepper. I'll pick that and put it in my pocket. I don't really like these, but there are other people in my household that do. See, it's just a really hot killer pepper, and this is a volunteer. This grew on its own. And then, let's see what else I could show you. There's a big stevia plant here. that the bees are working right now. Yeah, it's trying to go to seed. And let me get light a little better here. Yeah, that's a stevia plant. See the little white flowers? Am I focusing? Yeah, there we go. And stevia is a sweetener, and it's sort of like a natural replacement for aspartame or the other toxic sweeteners like saccharin and things like that. And these plants right here are holy basil, and just a really fragrant plant. And then over here we have a little fennel right there. I'll try to get a little closer. And then here we have wild spinach, or lamb's quarters. I've done a video on this before, but it's in the seeding stage right now. And you can see all the seeds coming in right here, and it's still good. I ate a lot of this morning. I guess it was early afternoon, and that really was good. It tastes good. We're getting a lot of chard right now, and a lot of volunteer dill, which I'll get right in on there. You can see that. That's dill, and a really good plant just to eat and to put in salads and things like that. And then some of the other plants we have are sorrel, lemon sorrel, right in over here. And I spend quite a bit of time in the garden. I try to spend about a half hour, 45 minutes a day, and most of the time I'm eating. Just eating what's here and benefiting from it. And a lot of things make more sense when you're in the garden. It's a good place to come and meditate and to think and to work if work needs to be done. But in the fall, there's not much weeding to be done. Things pretty much go along the way they the way they should. The plants know what to do. And here we have a lot of carrots that are over a year old now. No, maybe about a year old. And they're going to go to seed, and we'll collect the seeds and use them. And what we do is we let things go to seed. We let it come up, and like this plant right here, it is a fennel, and I'm going to harvest these seeds this afternoon. See right here? And all these seeds are really good for tea, and you can just pull them off and eat them. They're really good for digestion and for nutrition. And we also have a lot of cilantro coming up. All along here is volunteer cilantro coming up, and we're eating that. It's really, really healthy and nutritious. And oh, and then over here we have sunflower sprouts. We had a big issue of how to crack the sunflower seeds, and it wasn't working very well. And so now I sprout them right here. And then every week or two I start a new batch, and I put azomite on the row. That's sort of the white thing you see there, the white powder, and that gives a lot of nutrition to the soil, a lot of minerals, and makes it very healthy for you. Then I just come and pull these and rinse them off and eat them. And I don't worry about getting a little soil in my body, because the soil is it's really good for the microbiome. That's all the gut flora, the bugs that live in your intestines, and there are a lot of them. And they need to be fed, and there's a lot of probiotic elements that come from just a little bit of soil. I mean, I don't like the grit, but I don't sit there and scrub them and sanitize them. I rinse them off with a hose and then eat them, and they taste pretty good, and they give me a lot of energy and a lot of strength. So I hope you can enjoy the garden the way I've enjoyed my garden, and you have your garden and you have a place. It's sort of a happy place that you can come and unwind and relax, and just have your bare feet, your toes in the soil, and the sun on your back or your front, and it just feels really good. And it's a place of real rejuvenation and rest, and there's definitely a mutually beneficial element to it. I can't put it into words, but when you start to have your own garden and start to really nourish, and when it starts to really nourish you and feed you, you'll know what I mean. But it's a bit hard to explain in a video. But just give it a try, and I think you'll really enjoy it as I have, and see a lot of health benefits. The exercise is good. Going after these cherry tomatoes, I have to do a lot of yoga. I call it tomato yoga, where I have to bend down and sort of reach into the plant, and it seems the best tomato is always just about a few inches out of reach. So I have to really get down and stretch my legs and my arms, and I get a lot of good exercise from that, and just so many health benefits from being in a garden, and I highly recommend it. And every year, I mean every season, something changes. Like we had a lot of frost this last couple weeks ago, and every time there's an event like a frost or a warming up, certain plants die off and certain plants come to life. Like the tomatoes and the okra are dying off from the summer, and now we're getting a lot of lettuces and kales and walnuts, and a lot of the colder things that come in the colder climate are starting to come online. And that's an amazing choreography to watch, and it just reminds you of how our needs are always going to be taken care of, and how important it is to have faith and to not be afraid of not having food, of being hungry, because every season, every season, and every week, something's going and something's coming, and pretty soon we'll be able to get sap out of the trees, the walnut trees and the oak trees and the maple trees. We'll give sap, and we'll have all the calories that we need from the walnuts and the trees and the sap in the trees, from the nuts themselves, to really thrive. And so thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy your garden as much as I enjoy mine. So peace be with you, and thank you for watching. Paul here. I'll turn it around so you can see me. Paul here, over and out. Bye-bye.